So this short tutorial is actually a part of a Stack Overflow answer. What I'm going to be doing is I'm hoping to shed a little more light on the difference between a game object and its components. What I have here is a new Unity scene, and what I'm going to do for this example is I'm going to show you guys a UI button prefab using UI, and I'm going to go through the canvas game object, the button game object, and its components here on the right. And then what I want to do is I want to create that from scratch, that button. So you can see me adding the components individually and customizing it to be exactly the same as a UI pre-made button prefab, and you can kind of maybe get a better grasp of what the difference is between a game object and its components. So here we go. Here you see that I added, by going to the context menu, by right-clicking, I went to UI and I clicked on button. What that did is it added a canvas game object. Underneath it, as a child, I added a button game object. That canvas has all the components allowing it to be displayed, run in front of the camera correctly, and be interactable. You look at its button game object and you look at its components. It's going to have its transform information, a canvas renderer, which is going to allow it to be displayed underneath that canvas, and then also be interactable. Additionally, it's going to have the components allowing that button to have an image and be displayed, and then also be interactable with its button script. So here we have the image script. It handles all the back end part for you. It's going to allow an image to be displayed, you to customize color in a very gooey WYSIWYG fashion, and then you also have the button script here, and that's been pre-made for you. It's very nice, very efficient, and it's much easier than going and custom coding this yourself. Saves you a lot of time as well. So one thing I want to note here is, if you just want to play around and get a better grasp of this, if you were to go onto the inspector here, look at these components, you can customize the way they are set up, the hierarchy set up for it, move them up, move them down, and you can actually remove them. So you can right click on them or go to their gear and remove the component. If, for example, you want to create a button with no image in the background, it's transparent, that button is still going to be interactable, but as you can tell here in the inspector, you will not be able to transition because there is no basically background to transition or background image to allow for that transition. Anyways, let's go ahead and add that image back. So now, as you can see, I added an image component back. Now we have that displayed here in the scene view. Let's go ahead and add its source image back, which is named UI Sprite. I got that right. I did not expect that. So now what you see is that standard button back again. So what I want to do is I actually want to delete this canvas now so we can create it from scratch. And let's go ahead and do that same thing. Let's go to the context menu by right-clicking. Let's add a UI canvas this time. That way we can just add the groundwork so we can add the button, which will be interactable underneath this data here, or underneath this canvas and its components. So now what I want to do, let's create the button from scratch. So right click on that canvas, bring up that context menu, and let's go ahead and add a create empty game object. Let's rename that game object button. Underneath that button, let's add a canvas renderer. That's going to be your first thing. It allows it to function correctly underneath that canvas itself. Next, we want to add the other components, which you saw standard. So let's click on add component. Let's add an image script. Let's go ahead and add its source image, which we said was UI Sprite. And then let's additionally add, I don't know why that window popped up out there. Let's go ahead and add the button script. There we go. So now what we have is we have a functional button. It may be out in space. Let's see where that is. There we go. It is not sized correctly because you added this as an empty game object at first. So let's go ahead and resize it to what the standard would be. It's a 130 by 30. So there you go. You have a plain functional button now. If I play the game, you'll see that I can interact. I can click on it. It's obviously not doing anything because we have not attached any any event handling to the actual button script here. You could either do that in code if you wanted to, or you can actually just add it here. It's very convenient, and you can tell it to run at runtime, etc. Anyways, so now we have a functional button. We don't actually have any text on that button, so let's go ahead and add a create empty, just so we can follow the whole custom-made button, which is going to be a clone of the GUI button once again. So now what we have is a text game object. That game object is empty. All it has is its transform information. Let's go ahead and add a text element or text component to it. There we go. By doing such, it actually automatically added our canvas renderer, and it added that text script. Let's go ahead and call this a button. All right. And one thing I want to do is I want to set its anchor settings to this. I forgot exactly what this was called. It basically stretches it in every direction. And let's go ahead and center that to the middle of the button. All right. Let's set that to middle and floating directly in the center. So now what we have here is we have a button with its text that looks identical to a GUI button, and it's working. Now you may ask, why is that button text very hard to see? It's because we haven't changed the color. Let's go ahead and darken that up. There you go. So now that should look almost identical to going to our context menu again and creating the standardized prefab button. Let's go ahead and take a look. Let's move our custom one out of the way and move it up above. So now what we have is two. Nope. I actually made the width a little bit smaller than the standard. There you go. So here on top we have our custom made button, which is a clone of the standard prefab. And there we go. Both are functional, our custom and the prefab, which was standard with GUI. And I hope you guys kind of get a better idea how to manipulate them in Unity Editor.